Welcome to the GSMC Fitness Podcast, the show that helps you sort through all of the trends, new and old, of the fitness world. We'll talk about yoga, running, Zumba, weightlifting, and everything in between. Whether you've got your fitness routine down to a science or you're just starting out and looking for direction, you'll find educational and entertaining information on the GSMC Fitness Podcast. Welcome to the GSMC Fitness Podcast. I'm your host, Alexandra. We have some fun topics today. First, we're going to touch on muscle soreness and what that soreness means. Some poor sleep and how that affects your weight, and a fitness trend of 2020, circuit training. All right, so first, muscle soreness. There can be different causes for muscle soreness. We're going to focus on the exercising aspects, of course. But even within that, there can be different causes. So if your routine has changed, if you're working out more often than you usually do, whether you're new to working out or you have been working out, but you're making it happen more often, that can absolutely cause soreness. If you've upped your intensity, if you're doing high intensity training and you've never done that before, anything more intense that's new, or even newer workouts, newer exercises that you've added to your routine, anything new that's made it longer, more intense, different, you're working your muscles in a different way, or even just using different muscles. All of that can cause soreness. Now, obviously, we feel this kind of thing usually when we do something really intense, like we have a long day, we go hiking when we don't usually go hiking, and we don't notice because we're having a good time. Then at the end of the day, you're exhausted, and the next day, you feel so sore. Now, with newer exercises, this is the one that I want to focus on, because while they do cause muscle soreness, that's not a bad thing. You want that. Now, you don't want to feel exhausted and in pain all the time, but that soreness every once in a while at least is a good indicator that you're improving, you're doing something different, doing something a little bit challenging. Newer exercises are key to workouts. Please don't get stuck in the same routine. That's no good. Have a routine. If you have your routine and some of the moves just don't seem to be working for you, you don't feel that challenge, that's a problem. See, I have ones that I've always loved. They've always been a challenge to me. They work for my body. And that's another thing to keep in mind. Everyone's body responds a little bit differently. So there are certain routines I like to keep in my routine just because I enjoy them and they work and they're always challenging. However, recently, I've downloaded a few high-intensity interval training apps because I want to test them out and just tell you guys about them. I want to give you a rundown. What are the best ones? What are my opinion on all of them, the different features, blah, blah, blah. But I'm finding them too easy, which is weird because I don't do high intensity. That's not the type of workouts that I do. So, I don't know, it was strange to find them easy. But I'm not saying they're made only for a certain level. What I mean by too easy is I was testing different workouts that they preset. And within those, most of the workouts were easier for me, but there were specific moves that were really, really difficult for me to keep up with. and made me very exhausted. It might have been too heavy for me because I wasn't used to those particular moves, regardless of what setting it was on. So I had this weird mix of way too easy and way too difficult. So I'm looking into the apps more and trying to adjust that. But my point is, you need to change your routine up. You don't want to get stagnant. You don't want to feel like something is way too easy for you. You want to change your routine when the length or the number of reps, when all of these things that you're doing work for your schedule, but you don't feel any resistance. You don't have to change the length of your routine or the number of reps if you can't afford to and if you feel like it's at a good length, a good balance. That means you need to change the intensity. You need to change the weights. If you use weights, raise them. Raise the weights. Or if you're doing something simpler like using your body, there are different ways to change the intensity of that too. Stools, chairs, benches can help adjust the intensity. I briefly mentioned it before, but I don't really use my 5-pound weights anymore. I'm just right now using body weight. I'm trying to improve my push-ups because I used to be able to do a decent number of push-ups, no problem. And now I can't, I'm not at that level yet. And the 5-pound weights were a good starting point for me, but now I don't really use them unless I'm feeling particularly tired. I want to do something lighter, but I still want to work out. I just go to my push-ups because those are more intense. Now, in general, where does this soreness come from? This soreness that you get from changing up your routine, from challenging yourself, from working harder. It could be from lots of different things, but the general consensus that it could be probably likely from is that when you work out, you get minor tears in your muscles. And that's perfectly normal. I know it sounds scary, but it's perfectly normal. You get these little tears in your muscles, and that's your muscle healing, that soreness, that pain, right? It takes time to heal. When you get a bruise, it hurts at first, and then it looks worse before it gets better, right? It starts to yellow, and it gets a little bigger, and then it starts to get better. It's the same kind of deal. Your muscles tear a bit, and you feel tired. Then you feel the pain, and then you get better. Now, you need to be careful though, because if you're feeling sharp pains or cramping, that's different. That could be a sign of injury. So make sure you're paying attention. It's just normal soreness. You didn't push yourself too hard when you changed up your routine, however you decided to do that. Speaking of working too hard and possibly injuring yourself, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about burnout.
Do you want to be healthier, yet you just don't know what to do? All these shows telling you this and that, but nothing seems to work. Well, listen close. Golden State Media Concepts has got something great for you. The Health and Wellness Podcast dedicated to workout trends, healthy eating habits, diet, and everything about healthy living. Join us in our banters as we help you not just live life to the fullest, but live it to the healthiest.
Welcome back. Earlier we talked about muscle soreness and the importance of changing up your routine because muscle soreness isn't a bad thing. However, working way too hard and possibly getting injuries and specifically having burnout, that's not going to help you in your workout progress, and it's not going to help you meet your goals. It can really, really affect your process and put you behind. In an extreme case, burnout could literally cause you to collapse if you're really, really, really pushing yourself that hard. However, that's not something to worry about. Burnout usually shows itself in other ways before it gets to that point. So you gotta listen to the warning signs and don't burn yourself out. So it's more common to stop working out because you're way too tired. Your rest days need to be extra long. Instead of having 1 or 2 rest days a week, you end up having 3, 4, and it keeps increasing. And you just don't want to work out anymore, so you stop. That's burnout. That's more common. People getting really exhausted and hating it. So how does this happen exactly? Well, overtraining and under recovery are the 2 main things. With overtraining, obviously, we talked about that. It can actually cause injuries. You don't want to go too far because even if your form and everything is correct, if you're going overboard, your body's already tired and therefore weaker. You actually have rips in your muscles. Your immune system's working extra hard. You're going to make a mistake. You're going to slip, or you're just going to be working way too hard on muscles that can't handle it because they need to be recovering. You're not at your fullest, so you could get an injury and your recovery time will have to be increased a lot. Then the under recovery. If you work out really hard one day, it's way more than usual, and one rest day, you feel good, but you're not quite there yet, you still feel exhausted, and the next day you go back in to work out just as hard, that's not necessarily the best decision. You could make the situation work. So you want to make sure you're not making the situation worse. You want to work out and rest enough for you so you don't burn out. Another thing actually that can cause burnout is not switching up your routine. Interesting how that affects a lot of things. Burnout doesn't necessarily have to be physical exhaustion and collapsing. That's just the most dramatic form. It could also happen from boredom, which isn't uncommon at all. A lot of people hate going to the gym, and that's totally fine. Don't bore yourself with a routine you've been doing for 6 months. If you've been doing a routine and you hate it for whatever reason, it's boring, it's monotonous, switch it up. There's so many workouts that target the same muscle groups. It's just whatever works for you, whatever's more fun, whatever gives you that challenge and is showing you results. If you're feeling bored or drained, and I'm not talking workouts, okay? I'm talking regular everyday life, regardless of your workouts. If you're feeling bored or drained, you probably have burnout. You're feeling drained because you're working out way too hard, and you're feeling bored because you're just being affected by the exhaustion. You have to pay attention to your body, pay attention to your energy levels, your performance levels, your mood, and your appetite. All of these things are really important indicators to show, well, are you going to collapse soon? Do you need a break? Do you need to adjust your routine and just chill out? Make sure you're also fueling your body and fueling it correctly. Make sure you're staying hydrated. Make sure you're getting those carbs in. People are going to maybe hate me for saying that, but carbs are important to give you energy. So make sure you get the right amount of carbs for you and sleep well. That is so important. Sleep is the most underrated, under-talked about thing regarding fitness. It affects the body in so many ways. And it's recovery time for your muscles. So make sure you get enough sleep. With that, let's take another break. And when we come back, we're actually going to talk about how poor sleep contributes directly to weight gain.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Welcome back. Earlier we talked about burnout, and now let's talk about something that kind of complements burnout in the worst way. Poor sleep. So poor sleep is very important, but sadly it is also extremely common for all ages, except newborns. They got the right idea. They just sleep when they're tired, wake up when they're not. So, sleep. It has a direct impact to your weight. Let me say that again. Poor sleep directly contributes to weight gain. And I don't mean the good kind of weight gain. I mean the bad stuff, the fats and the sugars. That's what I'm talking about here. Not the muscle weight gain. Don't think that's a way to cheat and gain muscle without working out. That's not what I mean. So obviously there's so many things that affect weight gain. Again, specifically talking about fat gain. So many things you can be doing to help drop those pounds, but something that it's not the first thing people think about, right? When you think about weight loss, you think about changing your diet, going on this new diet, trying whatever your friends suggested, or going to the gym, whatever it is. All those are great things. The sleep is this elusive concept that all of us take for granted. And I get it. We're busy people, right? It's difficult to keep track of sleeping regularly all the time. However, please try and get your 7 to 9 hours a night, most nights, if possible. It's very important for adults to get 7 to 9 hours, and if you're working out, you need that time for your muscles to recover. Just missing a couple hours a night can cause weight gain. It's a significant amount too. It's not like, oh, I won't feel it unless I do it for a month. No, you'll notice pretty quickly. You definitely will notice. See, the thing about missing sleep consistently, it affects your hunger and your appetite. Man, even not consistently. If I stay up too late one night, and I'm forced to wake up early the next day, and like my sleep schedule is all messed up, I'm completely gone, completely messed up. My hunger, my appetite. See, your hormones change on this lack of sleep, and it increases your cravings specifically for all the unhealthy things. It specifically makes you want anything sugary, anything with carbs, anything unhealthy. Like, if I stay up late, okay, everyone has a favorite midnight snack, right? Mine, it doesn't happen often because I try not to let it happen. But when it does, if I'm up that late and I really want a snack, especially if I'm extra sleep deprived, my favorite midnight snack is cold mac and cheese. Like, I made mac and cheese earlier in the day. These are my leftovers that I stuck in the fridge. and I'll just eat it cold. That's my favorite midnight snack. It's so bad. It's so bad because mac and cheese, I can make it with cheddar cheese, but sometimes I also make it with more processed cheeses as well. Sometimes I mix different cheeses. So the processed cheese and the cheese and the carbs and midnight, and I already had dinner, it's just all around really not good. It's such a bad snack to have. What are your midnight snacks? I'm curious. Is there something that you crave really bad when you stay up late? What's your guilty midnight craving? Now I'm curious. You have to tell me. You need to sleep. You really need to sleep to avoid these snacking hormones. And you need to sleep because you need to heal quickly. I mean, if you're working out and your muscles are sore, or if you have an injury, you gotta sleep. It's like when you have a cold, you have to sleep, you have to heal. Your immune system's working. It needs that rest time. Do you ever have a really intense day, really intense physical activity, and then you sleep like a baby that night? Yeah, because your body needs it. That's why it's forcing you to get in that sleep. Like when you're on vacation, okay, there is a huge distinction between vacation and sightseeing, in my opinion. This is why. A vacation means you're actually resting. You're doing things you enjoy, but you're also getting in good rest time. You ever hear someone say, man, I need a vacation for my vacation? That's because they weren't on a vacation. They were sightseeing. See, there's a difference to me. When you sightsee, when you go mountain climbing, when you go see really cool tourist attractions and you walk through big cities, or you ride your bike through a beautiful countryside, or whatever it is, that's not a vacation, that's sightseeing, and that is exhausting in a different way. Great for your mind, still wonderful, but not a vacation. You need rest time because physical activity, no matter how fun it is exhausting, and you need to recover from it. So if you're up late often, try to get out of that habit. Stay away from screens for an hour or two before bed. Okay, let your mind get away from that blue light that prevents us from making all the chemicals that make us sleepy. And force yourself to wake up early so you're tired enough to go to bed at a reasonable time. And if for some reason you're lacking sleep at night, I'm all for taking naps. I love naps. Just make sure you don't oversleep on the nap. If you're oversleeping on the nap, that means that's not good. It means you need more sleep. So take your naps, but control them too. So get in that rest. It's important. We're going to take another break. When we come back, we're going to talk about cravings and distractions. Are distractions effective when it comes to cravings? How does all that work?
The GSMC Life and Happiness Podcast takes you on a journey of exploration. We'll discuss tried and true methods alongside the latest trends of how to best live your life to its fullest and happiest. From psychology to meditation, science to self-help books, the GSMC Life and Happiness Podcast will help you to discover what makes you happy and how you can live life being the best you possible. Download the GSMC Life and Happiness Podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type GSMC in the search bar.
Welcome back. Earlier we talked about how poor sleep contributes to weight gain. Now, let's talk about cravings. Remember how I mentioned that poor sleep makes you crave things, unhealthy things, and makes you want to eat more, and you do end up overeating, well, you can distract yourself from cravings. Now, you still need your sleep, obviously, to help reduce those cravings and to help your impulse control. But you can actually distract yourself, and it can help. Your impulse control being better with enough sleep can be supported by distractions. So, how does this work? Well, first thing, get out of certain habits. For example, when you watch TV, if you're watching Netflix, YouTube, whatever it is, do you eat when you watch? Do you snack? Yeah, stop that. If that's a big problem for you, you need to stop. Get out of that habit. But when you're watching, you're used to doing something, right? So do something else. Keep your hands busy. Knit. Play with a Rubik's Cube or a fidget spinner. Sew. I really like to work on costumes when I watch something. Clean. Fold laundry. Draw. Whatever it is, pick a nice little habit that keeps your hands busy while you watch something. The watching keeps you distracted, and then your hands are distracted. It's great. Perfect. That's a good distraction. And you get some work done if you're, folding laundry. That's good. If you're sleepy, if you're bored, and you feel like snacking, that's a common one. Stretch. Get up and stretch. Go for a walk. Do some minimal activity that requires movement, something simple. That is definitely super, super helpful. The idea here is you want to change your mind's associations to food. If you have a bad habit of eating when you do something specific, replace the eating habit with something else. You've got to change what your mind is used to. That will help lessen those cravings and will get you into the habit of not really having those cravings as often, or at least being able to control them easier. What you can do is work on a project that you want to do. Regardless of if you're watching TV, okay, this is separate. If you just have a craving and you just want to eat, work on something, distract yourself, pick a project that you want to do and keep your brain busy. When I work on independent projects, when I work on my stories, when I write, when I design things, sew, work on dance routines, different things that I find fun, or even just sometimes I like to lay back and put on Spotify and just listen to some music and sing just for fun. Whatever it is, it's a distraction and it's something I enjoy. I'm getting that dopamine fix. I'm getting that happiness and enjoyment from a different activity. And that'll keep me away from thinking, oh, I want something. I'm happy, so why would I want something, Change your mind's associations to food. Find something else to do that you can enjoy. Another very common piece of advice is replace your unhealthy craving with a healthy snack. Not every time, if you're craving things very, very often, sometimes when it's been a while in between meals, pick a healthy snack, a small one, have that. Make sure you drink water. You could be thirsty. And another actually very interesting trick that I very much enjoy and I've never tried before, but I will, is brush your teeth. I don't know about you, but once I brush my teeth, I don't want to eat anything. Before I go to the dentist, I make sure I eat enough. And then I brush my teeth, and then I go. So when I come back, I can leave my teeth very, very clean from the appointment, and I don't have to ruin them immediately just because I'm hungry. I don't like putting anything in my mouth once I brush my teeth, you know what I mean? So that's a good deterrent, that minty, clean, fresh feeling is a great deterrent from food. Ultimately, just distract yourself. Keep your hands busy. Sing to keep your mouth busy. Whatever it is, find something fun to do. Call your friend. Talk to them. Anything you need to do to keep yourself busy, do it. It'll help, I promise. All right, that's it for now. When we come back, we're going to talk about circuit training.
Still on the search of that one true love? On the limbo in this crazy world of dating, marriage, relationships? Well, listen to the Golden State Media Concepts Relationship Podcast, your one-stop podcast for everything about relationships.
Welcome back. Earlier we talked about distractions for cravings and how you need to distract yourself. Now let's talk about circuit training. Well, why circuit training? It's actually one of the top 10 2020 fitness trends right now. And I thought it was an interesting one because it's similar to high intensity, but it's not the same thing. If you're not interested in high intensity intervals, I can understand that. It can seem a little daunting. It's intense. Circuit training is a good way to go about your workout routine. The idea is you rotate between 5 to 10 different exercises, and each exercise, or groups of exercises, I guess, target different muscle groups. You need to alternate the muscle groups you're working, and then you repeat the circuit. So it's this whole repetition idea. It targets the entire body with minimal rest. The idea is with interval training, you get rest time. But with circuit training, there's no rest times. While you're working out one muscle group, the previous muscle group you worked is resting. For example, I'm not doing exactly circuit training. However, lately, I've been wanting more improvement in my arm area. So what I did in my last workout is, because my arms need more strength, right? Push-ups and other certain types of exercises have been harder, but I want to do more. But I get tired so easily. So I do them as one of the first things. Then I do everything else, and then I go back to them. That way I can add more into my routine to make it a little more balanced compared to the rest of my body. And I just get in that extra bit. They get to rest and chill out while I'm not wasting time. I'm still working out, still making progress in something. That way I don't collapse from exhaustion. Like, I don't know, if you're doing something that's really difficult, strength training wise in particular, you're holding a position or you're moving in that position really slowly and you're concentrating, and it can be difficult and you may feel like you're going to collapse. That can make you feel defeated. So it's nice to have a circuit so you can go back to it and avoid that and the impact it could have on your whole progress mentally even. The good thing about circuit training is it gets in cardio and strength. Because of the no rest, you're consistently moving, so that's definitely helpful for cardio. And obviously it's helpful for strength. And you can include any type of routine in this too, any type of workout. You can go for a run on the treadmill. You can lift weights. You can, as long as you don't stop moving and you're working different muscle groups, you can do whatever you want with it to work out the entirety of the body. And it's great because you don't waste any time with resting. You don't rest for 5, 15, 20 seconds, whatever your rest times are in between reps. You're good. All that's gone. Forget reps. You're just going in a circuit, just doing everything in order and then doing it again. That repeat. I love that repeat. The only thing that I've heard that could be negative is it can use a lot of equipment, but I don't think that's even necessarily true. It just depends on what your workout is. What you want to make sure, this is more important than any other kind of workout, you have to plan your routine ahead of time because you want to make sure you keep that circuit moving. That's the most important part of this whole thing. I mean, your workout doesn't have to be circuit only. If you want to try circuit but want to keep doing intervals, you can do both, just not at the same time. Maybe start with circuit and then end with the high intensity interval training. That could be a good way to organize that. Whatever you decide to do, I think circuit training is a good option. You work out the entire body at once, which I'm a big fan of. That's what I do. But if you don't even want to work out the whole body, if you're one of those people that loves to split your workout throughout the week, this is also a good option for that. There's so many workouts that work out the same body part. So alternate a little bit between those. Do arms and legs one day. Do chest and glutes another day and have this back and forth circuit. That's another thing too. If you want the rest time to be less in between, but you still want to work out the same body parts. Pick 2 sections and just alternate between those 2. I think this can give awesome results, and I don't know, it's what I like to do. I like to keep moving. I don't like to sit there and rest for too long because I don't count how long I rest usually. I just kind of like to keep going. Because to me, it's kind of like in dance class. You practice individual movements and you do it to the music. So usually, unless you're trying to perfect a technique or a certain group set of moves, you work that one move the entire song. Then the song changes and you work on a different move. It's almost like circuit training in a way, I guess, because you kind of touch on different parts of the body and it can repeat different parts of the body. Yeah, I think that's why this appeals to me. It reminds me of dance class. I actually never thought of that until just now, just talking it out. Reminds me of dance class. So that's cool. If you're a dancer and you want to try doing some strength training activities or you enjoy dancing, I don't know, this is a good way to support that, I think, and it's familiar. So that's an option to look into for sure. All right, let's take another break. When we come back, we're going to talk about a newly released app called Bite.
Pets bring such joy to our lives, and the GSMC Pets podcast is here to share in that joy. We'll tell stories of pets finding their forever homes, acting in unexpected ways, being helpful, or just being silly. Whether you love dogs, cats, llamas, reptiles, fish, or you've never met an animal you didn't like, the GSMC Pets podcast is for you.
Welcome back. Earlier we talked about circuit training. Now let's change tracks a little bit and talk about Bite. I know we just talked about TikTok, but Bite just came out, so I have to mention it. And the reason is, so I went on the fitness section of Bite because I was curious. What's the difference here? I like it. I like the kind of things they have on the fitness tag in compared to TikTok. Now, obviously, this is just personal preference, but I'm going to explain that. let me explain what Byte is first, in case you don't know. Byte, B-Y-T-E, is basically Vine 2.0. So if you remember Vine, it's basically short video clips. I think Vine was like 6 seconds and Byte is 6.5 seconds. And people just make short videos and post them. And a lot of them are funny, but they don't have to be. They can be informative too. And Byte is organized so there aren't really tags, but there are categories. So you can browse through different categories, and fitness is one of them. Now, it's full of lots of different kinds of things. Even though the videos are so short, it does have advice. Just short little things, little tips, maybe a reminder, something to refresh your memory. It can also be an inspiration. It can give you ideas of different workouts to do and how to do them correctly. Advice isn't the most common one I've seen, but it's on there. What it's also good for is inspiration. But inspiration in a different way than TikTok. TikTok has people doing cool tricks, but Byte has it in a different way, I guess. There's gymnastics, and they also have video clips that I saw of marching routines. For example, for like the ROTC, there was a guy and a girl doing a routine, a marching routine, and flipping their fake guns. And it was really cool to see that. And I also saw a guy throwing axes. That one was really cool to me because I honestly think of axe throwing when the Renaissance Festival is in town. That's it. And I've tried it before, and it's really hard to get it that far and exactly where you want it to go. So, that's a cool exercise to try. It's really cool to get random ideas like this from an app, from a little app that's made for fun. So, I don't know, if you want weird ideas of different fun things to do to get a workout in, maybe Byte's the place to be. But my favorite part is the humor. Absolute favorite thing on that app, on the fitness part in particular, is the humor. I much prefer that to the inspirational, really strong, really talented stuff that I've seen, which is awesome for those people. I think it's great. But I like to see more of a shuffle, and I feel like the humor is appealing in a different way. Because workouts in general, they seem really boring to most people, me included. And having that humor, that humor is so good. It's so good. It makes you want to see more, and it makes you want to, try things, do things too. Like, for example, I saw a Byte of a guy saying, just because you're a regular gym goer doesn't mean you like it. And that's so true. So why not enjoy it? Why not enjoy whatever it is you're doing, your workout? Byte shows definitely stupid things. Don't do them. But humor may be a better motivator for some of you. So if TikTok fitness videos were too intimidating, Byte just shows people having a good time, or making mistakes, silly mistakes, or, even weird, cool, random tricks. One trick I actually wanna try with a friend of mine. There's this slow partnered cartwheel that this pair did. So this woman did a cartwheel, a slow cartwheel, but when her legs were in the air, the guy grabbed her by one leg and then her upper body and lifted her up and helped her kind of flip back over, and then she landed the cartwheel. So they almost made the cartwheel longer, they extended it, and it was like a partnered trick. I don't know, it was slow, and it looked really cool and really fun, and they both obviously were safe about it, doing it on a mat and everything. They've clearly done it before. But it was just so cool. I want someone to instruct me on how to do something like that. And then there are simple things for inspirational purposes. Like, okay, there's this person who is rollerblading, and that's all it is. I mean, these are really short video clips, guys. She literally rollerbladed by on the screen. She just came on and then went off. And the title of it was Skirt, Skirt. And that's it. Like, it was so dumb and so simple. But it kind of, like, you see that and you're like, oh man, I kind of want to go rollerblading now. You know what I mean? Like, I love that. I love that so much. And other things. Okay, I'm going to share with you one more because I love this one too. This guy, he looks like he goes to the gym. He looks, you know, in shape. And he lays down on the bench press and he has a bar. And I swear to God, at the ends of it, they're like 1 pound weights, okay? You can't even see them. Like, they're so small. They're there, but they're small. And then he starts extra heavy pumping really, really fast. And he's so intense. He, like, falls off the bench press and keeps going on the floor. And everyone around him is staring at him. And I don't know how he set this up, but it was great. It was hilarious. Like, there are funny things people do on these apps. Obviously, some of them are stupid. Like, be careful, be safe. Don't do these stupid things. But I find humor a better motivator. And then seeing the talented stuff in between that is encouraging too. I just feel like there is a better balance on Byte, at least for my tastes. Maybe it's not your taste, but just a suggestion. Maybe if you're around my age and you remember Vine, you'll appreciate this a little bit more. If not, no big deal. TikTok has longer videos anyway, better for advice if that's what you're looking for. But if you want advice, I think there are definitely better sources, but these apps are okay starting points. They're good for encouragement. So tell me which ones you like better. Do you like the fitness tag on TikTok, or do you like the fitness category on Byte? Let me know what you guys think. That's it for today. Thank you for listening to the GSMC Fitness Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I'd like to ask that you please remember to subscribe to the show and write a nice review. It really helps us out. Also, if you could please follow us on Facebook and Twitter, that would be wonderful. Thank you all so much. Have a good night.
You've been listening to the GSMC Fitness Podcast, part of the GSMC Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcasts on Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Google Play, and any app where you listen to podcasts. Just type in GSMC to find all of the shows from the GSMC Podcast Network. From movies to music, from sports to entertainment, from business news to weird news, we cover it all. You can also follow us on Twitter and Facebook and listen to these podcasts on YouTube. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's podcast.